Welcome to Holy Smokes and Dad Jokes. I'm Jonathan Pate, pastor, hope dealer, and part-time professional dad joke distributor. This is where faith meets real life and hope comes with a punchline. All right, welcome to Holy Smokes and Dad Jokes. I've got a very special guest with me. This is my youngest guest that I've ever had on the show.
Man, that's like an honor.
I know, it should be. It should be. I'm honored. I'm honored. But I've got Tanner Brady with me on the show today. He actually came to the church and he gave a really good word. You didn't just give a speech about your mission. You gave a really good word for the church, and so that was great.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you for agreeing to do this.
Thank you for that encouragement. I got it off of eeBay, so I mean, no, I'm kidding. No, I'm kidding.
Here we go.
Lord, forgive me. I'm in church while we're doing this, but no, it was a blessing.
We ask forgiveness after the show. No problem. No problem. So, the rules of the show, and I'm excited about this because I don't, you're not a dad, so dad jokes. Did you have to go outside of your?
Listen, there's a little thing that maybe Gen Zers aren't, or Gen Xers aren't as concerned with that Gen Zers are, called ChatGPT.
Oh.
And I did some investigating last night, but I did test them on my dad. So
what did he think?
He was in agreement with all of them, but there were some he was like,
he
probably
did cut some out.
Yeah, he cut some out.
Those might have been the good ones. I'm just saying.
Might just have to share them all and let the crowd decide.
All right. Well, before we dive into what we're going to talk about today, let's see what you've got. So what kind of jokes you got?
All right.
For me?
So this is the first one. Hopefully no one tunes out after it. But let's start off with this. Okay. Why did Noah never go fishing?
I don't know.
He only had 2 worms, man.
He only had 2 worms. Your dad didn't cut that one?
No, that one was good. He felt if he cut a biblical one, he might pay for it.
That one stayed in from pity.
Yeah, all of these are biblical ones.
Well,
just it fits, I guess, the times.
That's a good dad joke, by the way.
Good.
All right, what else you got?
What is a missionary's favorite car?
I don't know.
It's a convertible.
A convertible.
Yeah.
Okay. So for converts.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty good. All right. Do you want to share the others now?
I'll share with you 2 more as I'm looking down at my notes.
Perfect.
Let's see. Why couldn't Peter drive for Uber?
I don't know.
He just kept denying the ride.
Oh, he denied the ride.
That was probably on the fence with him.
But they're biblical, so your dad was like, we can't really cut them.
Yeah. No, we had to keep them, man. We had to keep them.
That's not bad.
And then I'll end with this one.
Okay.
All right. Everybody brace yourself, whatever camera I'm looking to. Who in the Bible had no parents?
I don't know.
Joshua, son of Nun.
The son of Nun.
Son of Nun.
Yeah, I actually knew that one, but I wasn't going to give it away.
And then I'd make a joke about Job, but he's been through way too much.
Oh, a little bonus joke for us.
That's all we got. Signing out.
That's not bad, that's not bad. One day you'll be a dad and they'll get cornier.
Listen, I think with not being a dad, I think that's a good start.
You're green,
Hopefully.
But I think there's potential there we can work with. So that's a good job. That's a good job. So Tanner, tell me about your family.
Yeah, so my family didn't pay for me to tell you anything about it, anything good or bad. But I grew up in a really small family, not a lot of extended family. So it really was just my dad, my mom, my brother. And we did everything together, man. We would, go to the beach always. We would spend time just doing things around the community and whatnot. My dad is a cabinet shop maker, or he works at a cabinet shop. So he's got some things, some similarities with the Lord. That might be the one most closest to it. But my dad, God bless him if he's watching. But yeah, he's always been involved in woodworking, started building houses when he was younger. He's actually from around your neck of the woods up here.
East Aboga.
If you're listening from East Aboga.
NASCAR fan.
That's it. If you know the Bradys, the Hoppers, that is the lineage I come from. So, and then my mom just retired. She was a K-4 teacher for 24 years. So older than me, but she enjoyed it. She loved it. There were some days she came home and, I may have gotten the brunt of a rough day with the kid, but all grace and mercy was to her. She loved it and she really enjoyed it. They're now children's pastors at our local church. So You're loving it. And then my brother is, just an ordinary guy, I suppose. I mean,
Younger or older brother?
younger, younger. Do we have to love our brothers, by the way?
I think it's somewhere in there.
Is it? I need to keep on investigating. But no, he's 20 years old. He's a killer on the piano.
Oh,
So
wow.
he plays the
How old
piano
you
really
say?
well. 20.
20.
20.
Y'all sound pretty close together.
Yeah. So we grew up doing life together. But honestly, I was a big family guy because, being in a smaller town, you don't have a lot of people to engage with as much at times. And, I was homeschooled after the 9th grade. So, still had a lot of friends and whatnot, but me and my family did a lot together. And so
You
they've
have
meant a lot.
you have an incredible family, no joke. Your parents are super supportive, for
Mhm.
you doing what you're doing. To have parents backing you and supporting you, that's you are blessed. I know you know that. I know you know that. So, what about your faith? When did you first
Yeah.
come to know the Lord?
Well, I wish I could say an experience like at 2 years old and then a jet forward. I've been following the Lord for 20 years, man. But that's okay. So I ended up always really being in church. My current church is called Life Change. Of course, you're familiar with it. We started going when I was 12 years old. And so always loved being a part of our youth, our kids involved doing stuff. I would always find myself, serving at the church, always going over there. I practically lived at the church. I felt like I've even slept one night at the church
Oh.
just on my own, which was probably the most nervous I've.
That can be a little scary.
Yeah. It's the first time I ever spoke or was ever getting ready to speak. And I just ended up staying the night at the church, and it was part like really fun because I was able to pray and seek the Lord. And then I was sleeping at night. I was like, man, if somebody comes in here, I am on my own. But all that to say, it really was not until I was 18 that the Lord really began, or I opened up my heart to really allow the Lord to just do his work and
So, did you
surrender.
grow up in church?
Yeah, I grew up pretty much in church, always in services. Have a wonderful pastor, but it was a journey. Yeah. It wasn't, all like that,
Did you feel like at 18 you fully like you got it and you gave him everything?
Yeah, I gave him everything, but I didn't know what I was giving myself to, right? It was a camp experience, like it usually always is for someone like my age, and I was getting ready to go to Troy University, had a full ride, I just graduated high school, and all of a sudden, a Saturday night comes at camp, which is like for some reason just one of the most powerful
Sure.
moments, and felt the Lord just call it in that moment when I went up to the altar just to give everything up, and I heard very distinctly, like for the first time, I think as loud but as clear, the voice of the Lord saying that Troy University is not what I have for you. So you get that, and it's like, okay, what the heck is next? Like you just leave and you're like, okay, God, I'm going to obey you in the small. And, it took some steps, and the next day just withdrew from Troy asking the Lord, what is next? And life has been a journey, and I could share for hours upon hours on that journey, but it didn't come all full picture. It was small moments of obedience in God's mercy and his grace.
Incredible story though, because you heard the voice of God
Mhm.
and then you just simply obeyed, not knowing. It's sort of like the disciples did when Jesus said, "Just leave your nets right
Yeah,
there
yeah.
and come follow." They're like, "Well, where are we following you? Where are you going?"
Yeah.
And I mean, obviously, God has a He sees the whole picture.
Yeah.
We don't. We don't. We can't see past the present, most of the time. But he has the whole picture, and so we just trust him. And obviously, you did. That's an amazing story,
Yeah.
and that's genuine conversion.
Yeah.
Like it's not just filled out a card or I went to the altar. It's I heard you. I'm just going to say yes, and it's in your hands.
Yeah. And I think that's like also where you notice the difference between this was just an emotional moment and like of my emotions going, but like followed by obedience. I think, and that's what God is, I think, looking in all of us for is just our obedience. Because you're right, it did not the plan, the steps, the purpose that he had in that decision really did not unfold until around 2 years later. but it was through that that the Lord opened up so much opportunity that I would not have had I been willing to give it up. And it's all His mercy, man.
Definitely, I can't the older I live, the more I realize I can't really take credit for any of
Yeah.
it. I even look back at my conversion, and I'm like, I'm not sure how much of that was me.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm like, I
No.
feel like he was just dictating the whole thing, which he
Yeah.
was. It's hard for us to grasp the sovereignty of God and then our free will because we know they both exist. But for me, the older I get, the more I see the sovereignty of God. I'm like, if God had not done that right there or this right here, then would I even be where I am?
Yeah.
And so I'm like, yeah, he did everything good that's ever happened in us is in spite of us.
That's
That's
it.
my
I
it's
like
my
that.
working theory.
Yeah. I
It's in
like that.
spite of us. That's really good. So obviously you're involved in missions.
Mhm.
And so when did you first feel led to get involved in missions?
Yeah. Well, there was this, I guess you can call him a pastor. He's a real estate man on the side, but you guys may know him as the host of this podcast, Pastor Jonathan Bate. In October, I think of 2023, I think I got the year right. We had the opportunity to travel to Nairobi, Kenya, and of course, partner with our missionaries there and be involved in drilling a water well. And this is coming out of, I think this is a year and a half to 2 years after, like, I've made that decision. So I'm still at home taking community college classes and whatnot, but really just trying to discern what's next. Cause I know there's something that the Lord's wanting me to step into, but I'm just not exactly sure what that looks like. And, my dad had been on that first trip, I think in 2017. His life was changed. He told me, and he wanted me to come with him because I think he wanted me to kind of have that same experience. Of course, it was a little different, but he wanted me to have that experience. So God opened up a way. He opened up a path, and and I think 13 or 14 others went to Kenya. And from that very moment, man, it was just eye opening on so many levels because you go over there and of course you see so many different things and you experience so many different feelings. But I think leaving Kenya, I felt like this unity in my spirit with people who I don't even know and who I won't even see again, more than likely. But I felt like a unity, and the Lord was reminding me that, like, as much as we're one here, like I'm one in His body with those that are there. And so I think from there, God was just doing a work in me to grow in love and care, not only for the Kenyans that I had encountered, but more so for people. I think one of my biggest struggles as a kid and even as a teen was like social anxiety. I was your introvert upon introvert, did not like public speaking, never saw myself, told the Lord, I'm not going to get on a stage, never going to do any of that. And God has a funny way of humor, but
He did the same thing to me.
it's just, but it's Him, like, what I'm finding and discovering is just, it's Him glorying in our weaknesses. Right? It's just this sense of God being exalted where I am weak. For where I am weak, He is strong. So that was really the first experience that I had with missions. And, you left a great mark on me in that, of course, just everything involved, and left that experience and knew that there was something ahead, but the path was still uncharted territory as to what was next.
So when you came back home from Kenya, were you thinking, I'm gonna do something else in this, or was it still some time before?
Yeah, I think when I came home from Kenya in like October, there was this thought in the back of my mind. There was a ministry out in Oklahoma that I had visited, I think that year before I'd went to Kenya. And they have a summer internship program that places you in 3 to 4 different countries in context during the summer. That way you're getting, a taste of everything. You're getting a taste of European culture, South American culture, Asian culture. It's just a wonderful encounter and experience. But, I never really thought that I could, be a part of something like that because I considered myself unqualified, because I didn't think I could raise the funds. So many different things, but I came back from that Kenyan trip and felt like it was the next step. Felt like that was what the Lord was inviting me on. And even in that, you talked about God's sovereignty, but There were times that I just did not want to commit. I talked with my current leader now. She was my leader back then in terms of inviting me, but I say you were persistent and consistent, and God was sovereign in it all, man, because, it was really, like I said, His mercy and His grace that was inviting me. But from Kenya, like I was able to really build on that momentum that I felt in my spirit and commit to that internship. And that was in, I think, the summer of 24.
And how long did that last?
That was a 2-month internship. So it, above all else, I mean, that was probably one of the funnest summers, probably the funnest summer I've ever had, because there's just this little guy from Greenville, Alabama, just exploring a world that is full of God's people anywhere and everywhere. And it was just beautiful, man.
So how many places have you been since Kenya? That was in 2023. This is 3 years later,
Yeah.
or not even 3 years,
Yeah.
October. So where all have you been?
So I have been in Africa, only been to Kenya. South America, have been to Peru once and Argentina once, getting ready to go back in July. Central America, Guatemala twice, Spain, Hungary, the Philippines. I feel like I'm missing one. I'm sorry to whoever I'm
That's
missing, but
that's remarkable, though, having never been anywhere.
no, I think I'm like, I'd never flown on a plane until our trip, and now it's like, man, plane riding is not as fun as I thought as it was at first, man. But
Wow.
it's
So
all the Lord.
that's something, look back at that, and that voice of the Lord that said, "Hey, Troy's not the place."
Mm-hmm.
To think that he had places you wouldn't even
Yeah.
like, you would not use what, UAB or, Jacksonville State? No, we're talking Kenya,
Yeah, it's like night and
Argentina.
day.
But we serve a big God, and that's amazing. And so what mission are you currently involved with now? Like, what's now for you?
Yeah. So the organization that I served in for my internship was a group called The Awakening. They're a world missions group in the IPHC that is targeted towards encountering, engaging, mobilizing, equipping young leaders to fulfill their God-given purposes across the world. I've been involved with them ever since that time, so it's been about 2 to 3 years now. Feels like it's been 10 because I've just loved every second of it with them. But that's the current place and role that I serve in, and in that, God's allowed me to accept an invitation to serve as a short-term missionary, but move permanently on the field to our international training base in Budapest, Hungary. So I'm very excited about what is to come. It is something that I never imagined, dreamed when the opportunity was accepted, or when the opportunity was presented. To be quite honest with you, I was laughing inside because I was like, there's no way. But the Lord.
Absolutely, and you're gonna make it. He's gonna get you, there's no doubt. He doesn't give you an assignment, not give you the provisions that you need for it. That is amazing. So, this has nothing to do with what you just said, but you said The Awakening, and,
Yes.
uh, we went and watched The Great Awakening at the movies. Did you
Oh,
know that
really?
movie was out?
I did not.
It's really good.
Really?
Like, there was not many people in the theater, a movie like that doesn't draw the biggest crowd, but it's about George Whitfield, which was a preacher back in the day, they said about him that his voice carried where, like, 20,000 people could hear him without a microphone because he had that kind of voice. And it's a story of him and Benjamin Franklin and how he witnessed to Benjamin Franklin over the years, and basically the Constitution and everything. George Whitfield, along with John Wesley and Jonathan Edwards, and a lot of them had so much to do with the founding of our country.
Yeah.
It was a very powerful.
Is it out is this
It's
a new
it's
movie?
yes, it's we went to the mall in Gadsden, Alabama, and it's showing there. I think it's showing it. It wasn't showing at every theater, but Angel Studios put it out, the same one that's been doing that. It's really high quality, and I was moved by it, like, to go back. It was very good, very good. So
You're telling me
so
this.
you're young people now, the awakening. That's fresh in my mind because that's what he did. He came to the colonies to awaken the colonies to Christ. And one quick story, you got me off a rabbit trail
Yeah,
here,
go
but
ahead.
This is we're talking about passion. And one of the scenes it talks about how he is on a horse, and so he preached to like 20,000 people in one city, and then rode 50 miles on a
Oh my
horse
goodness.
and preached to another 20,000 another in the same day.
Oh my
And so can
goodness.
you imagine doing that? And he was extremely passionate for the Lord, and I think we forget that that's that kind of passion and sincerity that founded our country, and that God needs. You're talking about not feeling qualified. God is looking for people that are passionate. You know, if you've got the passion and the sincerity, he'll equip you with whatever you need.
That's it.
Right?
Side note to that, I was going to go watch the Mario movie tomorrow, but you might have accident,
That
you
was
know.
probably good too.
Yeah, I mean, it might not have the same spiritual impact.
There were
but
many more people in the Mario movie than the Great Awakening.
I might have to do just to feel better about myself. Let's watch The Great Awakening first, like a 3 p.m. showing, and then we can watch the Mario movie.
Funny
at 7.
story. There was this older couple that came into the movie theater. You know, they got these recliners now.
Oh yeah.
We get older, those things aren't the best for the movies, because the movie's called The Great Awakening.
Yeah.
We're 10 minutes in and I heard a snore. I'm like, no way. Maybe Whitfield will wake him up before we get to the end of this.
They just start getting to that preaching and arise, Lazarus.
Oh, that's right. That was his saying, arise, oh sleeper. So funny. That's good. All right, I want to get to another question. Before I do, let me take a little joke break and see what I've got.
You're a dad, so
I am a dad.
These should knock my socks off.
Well, no dad jokes ever do that. They're always disappointing, but I'll just say this. I tried to start a conversation with an elevator, but it just let me down.
Hey.
See, that's a dad joke.
Yeah.
That's a dad joke. Learn. You gotta, listen.
Let me get my pen and write these down.
Wax on, wax off. On the same note, stairs frustrate me. They're always up to something.
Oh my goodness. These are good. These aren't knock your socks off, but I
don't have any of those. I've been telling jokes for years. I don't have any knock your socks off jokes. If you find some of those, send them to me.
Yeah. In that book I was reading earlier on your
book
desk.
on my desk.
Yeah, I'm gonna go through it and just start sending you one every week.
My church members will buy books for me. I'll tell a joke out of the book and they'll boo me. I'm like, you bought the book.
Yeah.
Like, what do you want me to do?
Oh my goodness.
It's your material. That's fun. Man, laughter is so powerful. It is a medicine, the Bible says, and we need to smile more. And there's a time to mourn. There's a time to be serious. You gotta have some laugh breaks though in this life. And I think our love for one another and the joy that we have in spite of what's going on in our lives, I think that's what shows the world that this is genuine.
Yeah, and I think it's also what can bring us together. Like, I think the ability and the opportunity to like talk amongst one another and have conversation, but also cut up at the same time is like, or life would be boring. Like if we were just these guys who just talked in this monotone voice, like who wants to hear that, you know?
Yeah. Nothing breaks the ice better than a good joke. And so
that's why I joked this morning.
One of the kids said something about you.
Oh my goodness! I don't even. I need to get
I thought
Grayson.
That was pretty good.
Yeah, I need to get Grayson to tell me his name because I don't even know. I came in and shook his hand, and he was like, "Man, you look like you have a 800 credit score." And I looked, and that one got me better than I have in a while. I was like, "Buddy, it's only a 740. I wish it was 800." And then he called me a State Farm insurer.
Jake from State Farm.
But I mean, hey.
I'm afraid I enable people.
You know, it's. I did tell the guy behind him. I was like, if he gets a little rowdy during service, you can just kick his chair a little bit.
Call for the ushers.
Yeah,
we'll find him a spot. My friends and family know that if I make fun of you, it means I like you. It means we're on good terms.
That's it.
I love it. So, I've been asking people, if you could go back and talk to the 18-year-old version of you, what you'd tell them. I think that's a waste of time with you, Tanner,
Oh,
because you basically spoke to yourself already
yeah.
today, and you're just 20. Are you 22 or 23?
23.
23 years old.
23.
Wow.
So it's been a crazy 5
Yeah.
years,
So
man.
so I'm gonna flip it. I'm gonna flip that question
Okay,
for
yeah.
you. So where do you and there's no right or wrong answer for this because I would have got it wrong for
Mhm.
me. Where do you see yourself when you're my age? You're 51 years
Wow.
old. What do you can talk about
Yeah,
like what I would like to see
yeah,
or where you feel like God is leading. What do you see?
yeah. Well, I'd like to be a dad. Like, I know this is the Dad Jokes podcast. So I would like to be a dad, would love to be a husband. So I mean, of course that's a desire. It's not the ultimate desire, but probably apart from, loving the Lord and being where he's called me to, would love to see that. And hopefully maybe I'm not going to put an age on you, but maybe 50. You're older than 50, but
51.
okay,
I'm
yeah,
51.
51. Yeah, but maybe by 51, I could be a dad. My kids could be getting ready to graduate or
There you go.
graduated, have a beautiful wife in
Yeah.
Jesus' name. Um, but that's of course a hope and a desire.
Pause right there. So,
Pausing.
advice. I got some wisdom for you on this. So, if you and somebody told me this, and I use it in marriage counseling, pre-marriage counseling. I use it for people that young adults that are looking. I think you've you've got to run for the Lord with all your might, with what He's put in front of you, what He's given you to do, and as you're running, look and see if there's somebody running with you. Never. You can't slow down, you know, to find that person. You definitely don't want to pause or definitely don't want to. I see too many people turn, like stop and turn because of a pretty face, or
Yeah,
something that catches their
yeah,
attention. You want to run and then that weeds out a lot
that's it.
because the one that's for you will be running
Yeah,
beside you.
yeah. What's Proverbs say? Charm is deceptive, beauty is fleeting, but a woman who fears the Lord is to be praised. That's good stuff.
It also says something about a nagging woman in an attic, but that's for another day.
Yeah, save that. You can save that part for like.
I wouldn't know what that's about. April never nags.
No, not at
Never
all.
has.
No,
So you've got
but
a
of
family.
course, have a
What
family.
else?
I think the more I'm growing older, and mind you, I'm still only 23. The more I'm beginning to see a need in my own heart and a desire to fulfill that need amongst like unreached and unengaged people groups across the world, right? On a lot of these trips that I've been a part of and whatnot, I've loved and enjoyed being part of them. And Hungary is the first place that I'm moving to, and I feel such a deep connection there and roots established and excited about the opportunities that exist there. But like at the same time, it feels as if the Lord is beginning to stir like a heart for the unreached and the unengaged,
That's good.
and for those that have not had the opportunity to hear the gospel. And I don't know what that looks like, right? I've never really been in a predominantly unreached nation. I hope to be in one at some point, but I don't know what it looks like. I do know there's a desire for that, and I think that comes out of course, a biblical mindset. But the Lord has really been teaching me through Matthew 24 that like His gospel will be preached to all the kingdoms of all the nations. And like if you investigate that word nations in the Greek, it's relating to ethnic groups, and then you look at world statistics and you see that still over 3.5 billion people are either unreached or unengaged. And for something that we take as so much, not that we don't enjoy and are thankful to hear the gospel and be a part of a church community, but sometimes my own eyes and our own eyes aren't open to the reality that still over half the world has never even encountered and been around a Christian.
That's crazy.
And I think that's where, like I said, I don't know the vehicle to get there. I just know that there's some fuel that's beginning to be added to my life, and Lord willing, He'll make it happen, whatever it looks like.
That's incredible. So something you said this morning during your message about being in a room with people speaking different languages, and that's what heaven is like. And
Mm-hmm.
we know the book of Revelation talks about a people that you could not number, could not count them of every tribe, nation, and tongue. and being in different places across this world, I know that you've recognized this too. It's like the the Holy Spirit has its own language, has His own language, in that no matter if you're in a church service in Guatemala or Kenya or where it may be, where people are praising and worshiping the Lord, there's like a familiar. You just recognize Him,
Yeah.
you know, and you may not know specifically what they're saying, but you sort of do.
It's almost like, yeah, it's just there's this sweet feeling of like the presence of the Lord. And it doesn't it can be in a it's funny you bring up Guatemala. It can be in a service that they're going 120 decibels. You can't even hear a thing, but the people come hungry. They come ready. When I was at a church service a few years ago, like there were people coming in the pouring rain, just driving their little mopeds, coming to like a Tuesday night service, and you just see the hunger. And doesn't matter if I don't really know what they're saying. You're exactly right. You feel God's presence and just enjoy being around His people.
Yeah, I'm gonna ask when we get to heaven because I've got a. It is a theory,
Yeah.
but I believe that the day of Pentecost was the Bible says they spoke in tongues, and the people that were there from the different nations heard them, and
Hmm.
so I believe that literally happened.
Yeah.
But I also believe that there was a miracle of the ear happening, because if you think of so many people in that crowded city, and then you've got 120 people speaking in different. How would you even? So I
Wow.
really feel like there was a I feel
Interesting.
like there was a I feel like there was a miracle of the ear also, that they were hearing, you know, somehow God was separating the voices that was going out and they was hearing in their own
Wow.
tongue.
Yeah.
We had a Japanese lady in the church growing when I was growing up, and I was a young boy at that time, and she spoke very little English, but her conversion story was she came up to the altar, and this was her story. She told it several times in
Hmm.
my lifetime, that she was praying in the altar, and my grandfather came and prayed with her. And she tells everybody till the day that she passed away, she would tell you that he prayed over her in Japanese. She heard, like, he wasn't like, in that moment we were not hearing
Yeah.
Japanese, but so I believe the Holy Spirit's able to do the miracle in the ear and the miracle
Absolutely.
in the tongue. And so
Absolutely.
again, that's a
That's
theory of
interesting.
mine.
Yeah.
It
I like
really
it.
doesn't change anything, because
Yeah.
I do think the literal tongues were there, but I think if you think about the situation, there had to be more than just, because there's a lot. You know, if you everybody in this room here, if they all started talking at one time, it would
Boy.
sound like gibberish. And
Yeah.
so there had to be, the Holy Spirit was moving.
Yeah,
You know,
especially like you said, I mean, you had people coming in from every different part.
no way you would.
There's no
Yeah,
way.
but
Wow,
I
that's
think it's cool to
interesting.
think about.
Yeah,
That's
that is a
something
cool
that's pretty cool.
concept.
Um, well, I know that you'll have some surprises along the
Yeah,
way. You know, you're gonna get married, you're gonna have kids. You know, they're gonna be beautiful.
yeah,
But you probably will when you get 51, if the Lord tarries. You'll look back and say, "I didn't see that coming," you know, or, "I didn't know that was gonna be part of my story."
yeah.
And so I just say trust Him all along the ride,
That's it.
and, it's gonna be fun.
Yeah,
It's gonna be challenging at times,
yeah,
and, there's gonna be times you're like, "Oh boy, what did I get into here?"
yeah.
And, He'll show up and show out,
That's
like,
it.
every single time.
And even like I said, I'm only 23. Really didn't give my life over to the Lord until 18. But I look back at and you probably do the same. You look back and like a year ago, like it's April 12th, I was getting ready to graduate college, and I never saw myself sitting like on a
Yeah.
podcast with like the Pastor Jonathan Pate, like
Oh, come on now.
stuff like. But no, that's a funny joke. But stuff
That was
like,
your best joke yet.
yeah, that
You
was.
didn't even need your dad for that
And
one.
I didn't need Chat GPT
I'm rubbing
either.
off on you.
Yeah, I already feel it. But you look back and man, you're just like, I didn't see myself
Yeah.
doing that. But the sovereign hand of God, you're exactly right. It's God's sovereignty to establish you where He wants you to be, because ultimately, and like one of my life verses is found in Psalm 37, verse 4, take delight in the Lord, and he will give your heart its desires. And I fully believe that as we fall more in love with Jesus every day, and we don't get to the mindset of, I have no more to learn of him, that he just begins to fill our heart and replace our
Yeah.
desires with his. And then those begin to be our desires that we desire, and then he answers them, and it's all just, it comes together, and it's beautiful.
You are early on, but you're so far ahead of a lot of people because you simply said yes. I would say to you what Paul told Timothy, said, "Don't let anybody despise your youth."
Mm-hmm.
I would say to the person watching or listening to this, because there's people that's known the Lord for 20, 30, 40 years, but they've never said, "Okay,
Mm-hmm.
whatever you want me to do, I'll do that."
Yeah.
It may not be go to Hungary. It might be forgive that person you've been holding a grudge about for 20 years, and it affects your everyday. It could be the simple things. And so, praise the Lord for just obeying his voice. I love it. You have anything else you feel like you've,
Like I said, I really can't speak enough to God's mercy and his grace and all of this, dude. The more I'm like growing older, I heard a pastor say this once, and it's been sticking with me in this season, but the more that I grow older, and I think you alluded to it earlier, the less impressed I should be with myself. Like, man, I look back when I first gave my first sermon, and I had like the whole youth pastor blue jacket, the whole gray pants. I had the whole look,
hey,
thinking,
look, hey,
yeah, thinking. Well, you weren't.
I'm trying.
You weren't
I'm
in.
trying to go back in time.
Yeah, you weren't in skinny jeans though.
Well, they are, but they're not. I've made them skinny jeans.
But I just look back on that moment, man, and I'm just like, thank
Yeah.
God for his mercy and grace, because even at the beginning stages, the Lord does a lot of removal of pride, and as long as you're continuing to just submit and say yes, and not to say I get it right every day, right? There's so much
Sure.
maturity and grace, but I think God's mercy and his grace and his invitation to love him more with every day, it makes life, enjoyable, and it makes what you do, I think, the most enjoyable thing ever, because at the end of the day, and I'll close and end with this, it's not as much about what I do for God as the opportunity that I have to be with the Lord.
Mm-hmm.
And like, if I'm with the Lord and that's like my first desire, then others are impacted, and the two work together and they correlate, and I have to initially move beyond just being with the Lord in that, but it doesn't feel forced. Like, I don't feel this forcing to love people
Right.
or to preach or whatnot. It's a response to the love that he first had and gave himself away for me, and I'm just trying to respond and love him the best I can back, man. And he's been good in that.
You're an inspiration, and I'm proud of you. Your family's proud of you. Your church is proud of you. And so, if you watch this or listen to this, look up Tanner Brady on Facebook or social media and give him a follow and support him on his mission. I think that would be great. Maybe we can put something in the comments to give you a way to do that. But let's help him get to Hungary and do what God has called him to do. Tanner, it has been a privilege. Absolutely. And I feel like your joke game grew
Hey,
like as we went.
if
It started off shaky, I'll be honest with you. I mean, it was a little shaky, but you even threw a couple jabs in there for me. That's growth. And so you've got potential.
it's all about day by day, hour by hour, minute by minute, second by second sanctification, even in the area of jokes, man.
You got this. You
So,
got this.
I'm grateful.
I've had a blast.
Man, it's
and
been
I
fun.
appreciate you. Wishing you
Absolutely.
the best.
Hey, thank you, sir.
If this episode encouraged you, share it with someone who could use a little hope, or at least a decent dad joke. Remember, no matter what you're walking through this week, you are not alone. You are deeply loved, and there is always more grace than you think.